Hi, I'm Joanne Fisher with Fisher Family Body Talk. Just came on today to tell you about the case study we did. From January to March 2017, Sharon Koenig and I took 19 children, 18 of which were between the ages of 2 and 4, and one 7-year-old, and we did 6 sessions bi-weekly over the span of the 3 months. So we were using BodyTalk distance sessions. So our purpose of our study was to show the effectiveness of distance work, as it's an area that people don't really understand. BodyTalk is a way of working with the subconscious, unconscious level, our innate ability to heal, to get to the root causes of why we have issues, why our body's out of communication. So with our kids, we treated ourselves as a surrogate for them and then just emailed audio summaries to the parent or guardian on the outcome of each session over the 12 weeks. So prior to starting the case study, we had the parent or guardian fill out a form, just analyzing all the different things in the child's life, from their behavior to their learning skills, to their speech, to their sleep, to their digestion, to everything about, everything. So by talk, often when we treat one thing, it will result in creating benefits in other areas that might be unexpected. So I will start off with a little bit of an overview of what happened for our 7-year-old. That was a little bit of out of scope. So this young one, she had an acquired brain injury from her epileptic seizures. That every time she'd have a seizure, she'd lose oxygen and she'd damage her brain further. So she was constantly in rehab and in therapy, trying to regain her motor function. And she had so much anxiety and motor skill issues, bedwetting at 7, all kinds of different issues that kept getting worse and worse with each seizure. So prior to undergoing the case study, she had had 6 seizures over the 2 months, October, November, I think it was what we were judging it off of. Plus she would have petit mal, those away spells, and chronic headaches. So after the first session, she stopped having seizures and her anxiety started to improve, her sleep improved, I believe the bedwetting improved. I'd have to double check the notes on that. But the interesting thing is with BodyTalk, as we work through the root causes of something, sometimes there's genetic things, and in this case for her it was that her brother and mother also is epileptic. So even though we didn't treat her brother stopped having seizures as well. So that's something I started to understand further down the road when I took the matrix, or the module 6 content of work, the microcosmic body mind work, about our 8th chakra and the more hereditary factors and how we can actually cut out those or strengthen those if we need them. So she was one of the really most impactful people in the study. Also with that, we had a number of other kids that had major effects. The one thing to note with the study is that every single child seen increases in some way. Our one child who was losing her vision due to some other genetic things as well, that her vision stopped declining. It may have improved slightly, but we weren't even sure that what was going on with that. So I was almost a little bit disappointed in her increase with the study. But we found out 3 months after the study that she got an MRI and that she had a calcified brain tumor that her mom didn't even tell me about because she didn't think it was relevant, that it was completely gone. It was a miracle that they had no explanation to why her body had got rid of this tumor, which wasn't a surprise for me because she was one of the ones I treated. And every session we worked on cellular repair, which was helping the body to focus on its own healing. And our body's amazing. We cut ourselves, it wants to heal. So this is one of the children I'm wanting to work more with. And as I do my work, especially as we start to move into doing group sessions with kids, I'm going to do some karma work, to do some pro bono work with these kids. So this is one kid I hope to work with further, because there's deep down there, for some reason, there is a reason why she doesn't want to see the world. So hopefully we can get to the roots of her vision issues now. And so one of the other kids that had really amazing outcomes, and the kids that had the best outcomes, were the ones where we also treated the family members as well. So in this case, we also treated her father and her grandmother. So this one, she was 18 months old when she moved in with her grandmother. So they weren't sure of the trauma she was exposed to: FASD, rage, frustration, lots of behavioral, night terrors, real delayed speech at age 4. So she had really great outcome. They thought she was going to need a aid at daycare or for preschool, because she was so uncontrollable with her behavior that she did a full 180, that she's a completely different kid. So I'll just read to you. My granddaughter moved in with me at the age of 18 months. She had suffered trauma, neglect, malnourishment, and abuse prior to moving in. Her behavior issues were quite severe, as she was coping with FASD as well as ADHD, among other things. We were at our wit ends dealing with her meltdowns, defiance, and lack of sleep for the household. She was struggling with hyperactivity, tactile sensitivities, hearing and speech issues, and sleep deprivation. I was thrilled when I saw this study, as many people had recommended BodyTalk for her, but I hadn't made it a priority. Had I known what a game-changer BodyTalk would be for our whole family, I would have tried it years ago. I can confidently say that Joanne has given me a new granddaughter. Most of her struggles seemed to disappear after the first session. No more night terrors, hour-long fits, or sleep deprivation. And she had her second and third session. Her speech became perfect. Her hyperactivity almost disappeared. She's become calm, easy child to care for. And now after 6 sessions, she's quite an adaptable, flexible child. Change doesn't seem to upset her or even faze her. Whereas last summer, she had cried for 3 hours because the playground at the campsite wasn't the color she liked. So it was convenient that they didn't even have to leave home, that I did the sessions remotely, and that we didn't have to interrupt her daily routine. And the grandmother continues to say that if you're struggling with your health or wellness in any aspect, or have children in your world who seem to be struggling in any way, I highly recommend Joanne's services. Our whole family has been enriched by the experience. And I treated, the sister, the dad, and the grandmother a number of times as well. So, so she was one of the other major ones I seen benefit for. And the kids where we also treated the family members had the best results, as often we are mirrors to each other. And so if the children are exhibiting the stress of the family, and the parents are stressed out because the kids are sick, it just all bounces off of each other. So we need to work with the big picture for the best results. So another child in our study was a 2-year-old with a form of cerebral palsy, periventricular leukomalacia, which is under the cerebral palsy umbrella. So she began rolling around 6 months, but missed all of her other milestones, and she has a twin, so it was very clear to see her fails in milestones. So she was able to army crawl at this point at 2 years, and is able to crawl on all fours at 2. Major speech delays, and only 5 words at 2. So with the study, we had quite an amazing session and quite excitement from the parent. She sent videos. So she was treated by Sharon, and in her third treatment, Sharon was prompted to address the minor chakras and the soles of the feet, and its attribute of being able to take a stand in life. And that same day, this little one, she began to pull herself up to her feet and try to cruise the furniture. So we were very pleased to receive the videos of her progress on that. But because this child was so developmentally delayed, she didn't really apply to most of the questions that we asked on that one. But she did make some nice improvements with the study, and we were very pleased with the advances she did make over the six sessions we did too. We also had a lot of children working with eczema. That was one of the main areas we worked with. And statistically, we made really good results, but individually, some of the times it wasn't that good, as eczema tends to be really the outward expression of imbalance in the body. That allergies is a way that our body's just so overloaded that it can't cope. And eczema, our skin, is about how we deal with the environment. And so for some of these kids, more sessions is definitely going to be needed. But I can run you through a little bit of what we did with those. There we go. So we had 4 kids in the study that were enrolled due to eczema or eczema and sleep as our main priority. So yeah, it was one that we didn't see too huge of improvements in. Our first one, a girl of age 3, the eczema didn't seem to shift much, but we had improvements in her anxiety, fears, phobias, separation issues, and anxiety. Anxiety. We had a boy at age 2, and his eczema started when he was 6 months old. Main thing that we've seen is his eczema would improve, but it still kind of fluctuated on how bad it was. But the main thing with him was food issues, that he used to gag and was unable to eat certain foods, that cleared up, that his attachment and his speech was dramatically improved for him as well. That they were concerned, and he was meeting all of his milestones pretty much instantly. We had another girl, age 2, mainly that she was impossible to put to bed, that she was really hard to put to sleep, and eczema as well. She still has a rash, but she didn't seem to be as itchy or not as bothered by clothes and tags, and was much more open to keeping clothes on. But they also found some improvement in behavior, sleep, food, and attention. So and the other one with eczema was another girl of age 3. Huge improvements in her ability to sleep through the night. Her bed wetting, they went through one phase where she wet the bed a couple days, but was back to not wetting it again at all. And that her eczema went away. So we had better results with her. So if you want to see these, the details of these case studies, FisherFamilyBodyTalk.com currently redirects you to jyyoga.ca, which is where this originally is posted. So either of those websites will get you there. And then we also worked with 2 children with failure to thrive, that they just weren't getting nutrition, and good results with the little girl in getting her to have interest in eating food physically without having to be tube fed, and as well of just really good improvements of attachment and behavior for her. The boy, I have to look here because I didn't treat him. Yeah, he also had improvements in oral intake, but not much else really shifted with him. So sometimes we have lots of layers to our issues, and we gotta peel through them. So it can take some time to get through some stuff, but for the most part, the majority of our kids seeing some improvement, if not vast improvement, with the study. We also had a few other issues we worked with. We worked with one little boy with leukemia. He was 4. And so with him, one of the things we were able to do really great with him was to release a lot of the fear and his attachment, that he was able to stand being at the hospital alone and not so attached was one of the big things. He also got through his last phase of chemo without needing any blood transfusions, which they were certain he was going to need to have. And we were just able to create better immunity and better health with him through the treatments. And we had a lot of respiratory stuff coming up for kids as well. And we had a boy who was 2 years old who had aspiration of fluids, a thickening of fluids in his lung. And so they're working on trying to get him on having no non-thickening stuff. But with him, they were really impressed with the study, because usually every month he was at the hospital for one thing or another, just being really ill with that. But he had, by March, he had gone 3 months without any major incidences and no illness. And he was also had some improvements in his motor skills. So he was able to do stairs unassisted. We had a 3-year-old girl who had severe birth trauma. She was born not breathing, and the way she coped in the world with any kind of pain or stress or trauma, she would hold her breath for up to even to 10 minutes. Sometimes they'd have to rush her to the hospital if she stopped breathing. So very scary. But through the study, of course, we worked through the events of our birth and the birth trauma within the study. But come March, we didn't see much improvement. But come May, that I got a message back from her mother that she was doing well, that she'd get really upset and would have minor episodes, if anything, that has finally seemed to resolve. And I've continued to work with her past that, and I believe everything has subsided. I've been working with her siblings and not her, so I guess that's a good sign that she's doing well. So then we also had a couple of boys, a boy here who was 2, sleep, speech, and immunity. He had large adenoids that they had to remove, sleep apnea, multiple food allergies, platelet issues whenever he was sick, and very delayed speech. So his speech dramatically improved, and he was basically nonverbal. But basically with the study, he was better. He stayed healthy for the remainder of the winter, and they said his vocabulary expanded tenfold. So that was the one thing we noticed most with the study, was the kid's speech and behavior was really the thing that changed the most. We did do a statistical analysis on all that as well, and that is there on the website. But yeah, one of our other ones, yeah, that child too, who was supposed to have surgery to remove some of the swollen lymph nodes that he had, and he managed to avoid two of the surgeries. So they were very, very happy with his as well. So that's just a quick summary of the case study we did. Yeah, so you can see that we were working on a vast variety of issues, that BodyTalk works on all kinds of different things, and that every case is unique. So when I worked the bedwetting with these kids, when I've worked with bedwetting with kids at the clients, 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 12-year-olds with bedwetting, the root cause to why we have these issues is always different, and it's very individualized. But that's the amazing thing, is we can get to that and we can deal with that. So especially when kids have weird, interesting phobias that make no sense, we can get to the roots of why they're responding that way. Allergies are because their bodies decided they needed to protect themselves from that thing for some reason, and there's a reason. And we can discover that, and we can lessen those allergies or even eliminate them. So I'm very excited, I'm very pleased, and I just love working with children and working with the families as a whole. And that's why I am doing Family BodyTalk, a family practice. So FisherFamilyBodyTalk.com if you want to reach me, and feel free to get in touch with me with any questions anytime. Thank you.